apavrutam. Synonyms: prasanga, attachment; ajaram, strong; pasham, entanglement; atmanaha, of the soul; kavaya, learned man; viduhu, know; sa eva, that same; sadhushu, to the devotees; hridaha, applied; moksha dwaram, the door of liberation; apavrutam, opened. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: a very learned man who knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, opens the door of liberation. Purport. Here it is clearly stated that attachment for one thing is the cause of bondage in conditioned life. And the same attachment, when applied to something else, opens the door of liberation. Attachment cannot be killed. It has simply to be transferred. Attachment for material things is called material consciousness, and attachment for Krishna or his devotees is called Krishna consciousness. Consciousness is therefore the platform of attachment. It is clearly stated here that when we simply purify the consciousness from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness, we attain liberation. Despite the statement that one should give up attachment, desirelessness is not possible for a living entity. A living entity, by constitution, has the propensity to be attached to something. We see that if someone has no object of attachment, if he has no children, then he transfers his attachment to cats and dogs. This indicates that the propensity for attachment cannot be stopped. It must be utilized for the best purpose. Our attachment for material things perpetuates our conditional state. But the same attachment, when transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotee, is the source of liberation. Here it is recommended that attachment should be transferred to the self-realized devotees, the sadhus. And who is a sadhu? A sadhu is not just an ordinary man with a saffron robe or long beard. A sadhu is described in Bhagavad Gita as one who unflinchingly engages in devotional service. Even though one is found not to be following the strict rules and regulations of devotional service, if one simply has unflinching faith in Krishna, the Supreme Person, he is understood to be a sadhu. Sadhur evasa mandavayaha. A sadhu is a strict follower of devotional service. It is recommended here that one at all wants to realize Brahman or spiritual perfection, his attachment should be transferred to a sadhu or a devotee. Lord Chaitanya also confirmed this. Levamatra sadhu sange sarva siddhivaya. Simply by a moments of association with a sadhu, one can attain perfection. Mahatma is a synonym of sadhu. It is said that service to a Mahatma or elevated devotee of the Lord is Dwaram Ahur Vimukteha, the royal road of liberation. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktes Tamo Dwaram Yoshidam Sangi Sangam. Bhagavatam 5.5.2. Rendering service to materialist has the opposite effect. If one offers service to a gross materialist or a person engaged only in sense enjoyment, then by association with such person, the door to hell is opened. The same principle is confirmed here. Attachment to a devotee is attachment to the service of the Lord, because if one associates with a sadhu, the result will be that the sadhu will teach him how to become a devotee. A worshipper and a sincere servitor of the Lord. These are the gifts of a sadhu. If we want to associate with a sadhu, we cannot expect him to give us instruction on how to improve our material condition, but he will give us instructions on how to cut the knot of the contamination of material attraction and how to elevate ourselves in devotional service. That is the result of associating with a sadhu. Kapila Muni, first of all, instruct that path of liberation begins with such association. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stabidam Yena Bhudale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Sapadandigam Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Yudapadagammalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathanidam Tam Sajivam Sadhuidam Savadudam Parijana Sahidam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalidam Sri Vishakhanidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandhu Jagatpade Govesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupasya Kripa Sindhubheva cha Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhudale Srimade Lokanath Swami Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhudale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining this wonderful, auspicious Srimad Bhagavatam class. So we were going through this third canto, 25th chapter, which is titled as the devotional services. And 20th verse we are covering today. So the translation of this verse: every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, opened the door of liberation. The context of this: Supreme Lord Kapila Dev instructing to Mother Devahudi. So this is from here 25th to 32. This entire canto is specifically focused, and main focus on this canto is the Supreme Lord speaking to Mother Devahudi on the aspect of devotional service. So very powerful, and one can liberate, one can purify just by hearing these sections. So Mother Devahudi requested, and the Supreme Lord, understanding the words of Brahma, understanding this is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and requesting the Supreme Lord, please impart the transcendental knowledge so that I can cut down, I can liberate myself from this entanglement, from this material attachment. So Mother Devahudi was understanding that because of completely engaged in the sensual attachment or sensual desires, and because of that, Mother Devahudi is completely in the ignorance, the darkness. And understanding this, because of the incessant attachment to the material world or sensual attachment, then asking, there is no other person better than you, O Lord, because of only you can impart this knowledge about the supreme absolute truth. Mother Devahudi says, you are my transcendental eyes. Transcendental eyes. With that transcendental eyes, I can see things very clearly. So it's very powerful statement because of we are all covered with this material eyes. Wherever see, whatever we see, it's all material for us. It's all for our own selfish purpose. How can I utilize this for my own enjoyment or my own desire, fulfill my own desires? Whatever we see, anything that we see in this world, the first thing, how can I utilize this? In the olden days, people are very much loving each other, caring each other, and they shares things each other. But nowadays, in these generations, we can see that people are not so. They are always thinking of how can I utilize this person? How can I, get out of and utilize and for my own selfish purposes? So one time Radhanath Maharaj was mentioning this. In olden days, people used to love each other and utilize things. But nowadays, people love things and utilize the people so that they can fulfill. So the sensual, the self-centric, this attachment to this material world is growing every day by day by day by day. So Supreme Lord is as Kapiladev and also Mother Devahudi. This also again, Mother Devahudi was a pure devotee of the Lord and serving Kardama Muni for many, many years and understood the transcendental knowledge even from Kardama Muni. But again, it's anything that when Supreme Lord comes, this is not only for Mother Devahudi, but for all the humanity in this world. That's what is exactly Shaunaka Rishi was mentioning in the beginning of this chapter. Shaunaka Rishi was mentioning the Supreme Lord, whatever, and the words from the Supreme Lord, that's what is we have to hear what's supposed to be that we should be attached to, nothing else, because of that's the only thing which can give us liberation, the transcendental knowledge. So similarly, Mother Devahudi was requesting, please cut down and impart this transcendental knowledge so that I can see things very clearly. That's why spiritual master Ajnana Timirandasya, we are all completely covered by this Timira, the darkness, the cataracts in our eyes. So we don't see things. We don't see things clearly, everything that we connected with this material world. So why we are connecting everything with this material world? Because of our attachment to this material world. And why that attachment? Because of everything that we and look at it, that how I can enjoy, how can I get happiness and pleasure from this. So we are self-centric, and just to fulfill our sensual pleasure, that this attachment comes to us. So here it is mentioned pasangam. Pasangam means attachment. Sangha, the another word, sangha, sangatyaga. Rupa Goswami says sangatyaga. That means we should reject this attachment. So that's this word, prasangam. And then ajaram. Ajaram means strong. We know that the jara, janma mritu jara, the jara means the weakest. When a person gets old, that's why he gets jara. Jara means he's very weak. He cannot even walk. He cannot even see. So ajaram means the opposite of jaram, which is strong, powerful. Then pasham. Pasham means entanglement. So this attachment to this material world is like a rope, and here it is Srila Prabhupada gives entanglement. And there is another meaning of pasham is rope. So by this we know that when we take this rope or some thread, it's completely entangled after some time and we not utilize properly. So life is like that. And Kapiladev is revealing this transcendental truth to Mother Devahudi. The first thing is that we are completely entangled here in this world with our own networks of the material desires. So there is a beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavad Gita in 16th chapter. It says that Asha Pasya Tadhir Badir. Pasha, again Pasha come here. Asha Pasya Tadhir Badir. Kama Krodha Parayana Ihande Kama Bhogartam Anyayartena Samjayan. Asha Pasya Tadhir Badir. Asha means this material desires. Yes, material desires because of our attachment. Is like a rope. And this rope, Pasha, and this rope is entangled us, bounding us in this world. So which binds us to this material world. So this material desires is like a rope which binds us to this material world. Asha passes tadher badher, and how one can one come into that? Stadher badher. Badher means with much difficulty. And stada means always much difficulty. And why doing that? Kama krodha parayana. To fulfill the kama, the incessant material desires. Kama krodha, the anchor. Parayana. Parayana means taking that as their life and soul. Like ayana means the journey. So parayana means, or parayana means that takes us his own life. So he thinks that kama and krodha and all other anarthas, especially kama and krodha, is the foremost of all. And if the kama is not fulfilled, he becomes krodha. So it's in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 62nd verse. Dhyayedo vishayan pumsa sangas teshu bhajayade sanga sangayade kama kamadi kama krodha bhijayade. Kama. From the kama comes, from the lust comes the anger. So in this world, pretty much people are completely devoured by this bhavarok, this kama and krodha. They do not understand that this is just a material, diseased condition, kama and krodha, but they think it is not diseased condition. This is my life. So kama krodha parayana, they take it as their entire life is just for this lust and greed and anger and all these anarthas. So, but when a person goes through all this and he completely entangled, that's why by this rope, by this material desires, this attachment. So here, Kapila Devi is mentioning that because of the soul is completely attached by this material desires, this material world, but that same attachment is our bondage, but that same attachment also goes for our liberation. How? When we apply to the self-realized devotees, open the door of liberation. So the devotees, we are completely entangled, completely bound in this material world by this material attachment. So Kapila Dev instructing to Mother Devahudi, yes, we are all bound by this attachment, but that same attachment we utilize for the service of the Supreme Lord and associate with the devotees, then that same attachment can be cause for our liberation. That means liberation means free ourselves from this material attachment, or mukti. Mukti and sakti, right? There are two words. Asakti or sakti means attachment, and mukti means free from those attachment. That's the actual liberation. That which when we say liberation or mukti means that free from this all material entanglements. So like a person, a cow is tied to a pole, so it cannot move around. That it can only move within that space which is that the rope extends. So like that, we are all like that. We are bound by this material attachment, and how much that rope that really we can, even though we are bound by, we are free to move. So like that, when the moment we untie that, then the cow is free and he runs around all over the places. So he's free from it. Now he is not anymore bound by this rope. So like that, so we have this attachment. So this attachment is our greatest enemy, as Krishna telling to Arjuna. So unless we control our mind, the mind is our greatest danger, greatest, the enemy. But that same mind attached to Krishna, the service of the Supreme Lord, is the greatest, the best friend. Otherwise, with this mind, then only that we can, free ourselves. And the mind is the cause of our attachment or the bondage. Mind is the cause of our liberation as well. So we can see that Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that how we can, it's very difficult. I mean, it's not easy that today I'm going to decide that I'm going to stop all my material attachment. So it's not possible. Why it is not possible? Because we are deep rooted by this vasana of this material inclinations. This is called vasana, or our taste, our ruchi. And it is there. Why it is there? Because of we have been millions of lifetimes, we developed this material attachment through our various activities. Karma has different aspects of it. Karma has the one is called karma also create a bija. Bija means the seed. And then karma also, that beej is there when the karma, the sinful reactions or activities or material attachment creates another seed. That another seed also has a proclivity. That's called kudam. Kudam means sinful proclivity. So these are all there. It's not that just the attachment, but it's also spread. It's also sprout another various other kinds of disease. So like similarly, it's like a tree. So that's similarly, Krishna says into the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, the yoga of the Supreme, the Purushottama yoga. Initially says that, it says that, Urdha Moolam Adashagam Ashwatam Prahur Avyayam. Urdha Moolam. Krishna says that this material, we are all started our roots upward, and this seed has a root upward, and then all the branches and the twigs and the trees and the leaves all grows down. No one knows where this ends, and no one can perceive the magnitude of this tree, and it's spread all over, and it grows and grows, and nobody knows where it ends. And Krishna says to Arjuna that this tree, and one should cut down cut down the attachment to this tree by weapons of detachment. So Krishna says into the 15th chapter the same. So this deep-rooted tree is rooted upwards, and then it grows downwards. So that's exactly our nature here. So this tree, this is like a tree. So when the seed grows, and it creates such a havoc in everybody's life, and then it grows and grows and grows, and then we cannot perceive that how it grows. That's what has happened to us. So when this karma, this tree which grows, this attachment grows and grows, then it creates a seed. It's again create the trees, and we come to this situation. So now we cannot even come out of it. Very difficult. That's why Srila Prabhupada says it's very impossible that one can become with desirelessness. It's very impossible. We may try for 5 minutes, we may try for 1 day, we may try for maximum 1 week. Then what happens? Again, we are back to the square one. We may hear so many instructions on this aspect. We may hear, we may read, we may lecture, we may perceive so much. But unless and until we have trained by a very experienced, well-experienced trainer. So here Srila Prabhupada says that when one gets an opportunity to have one who is already been surpassed that situation, one who was already cut down by the weapons of detachment, who is attached to Krishna, then such people can train us, such people can guide us. So such people can then tell us that what is the right way, that how we can detach from this attachment for this material world, our sensual attachment. So Srila Prabhupada says that, so that devotee will tell us and train us and guide us. A sadhu, here it is mentioned that sadhu means, it says that one who has strong faith in Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Why he developed that strong faith? He understood that there is no other way, because of if we don't have that transcendental understanding, when then there is a transcendental understanding, we develop strong faith for Krishna. In that transcendental understanding, then he can see things very clearly. And that's why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Tadviti pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeshandiye jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. One would submissively, one would seek for a spiritual master and render service very submissively and inquire from him, because he has seen the truth. Tadviti pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshandiye jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Jnanina tattvadarshina. He has seen the truth. So such a devotee, sadhu, can impart this transcendental knowledge, and then he can tell us and give us the training and the guidance so that we can slowly transform this material attachment to the attachment to the Supreme Lord. Then slowly. So we know that there are so many examples out there. And the because of our attachment to this material world, that people went through so much of suffering in this world, right? We know that the story of Dhritarashtra, just because of attachment. What is Dhritarashtra's attachment for his children, right? Those his sons. No matter what, it says that the Vidura was mentioning this, O Dhritarashtra, that you are not only blind externally, but also you are blind internally. So the devotees, this is our condition. Why this is mentioned in Bhagavatam and this in the Mahabharata. So these are the examples that which can give it to us, which exactly reflects our condition of our life. So we are blind externally as well as we are blind internally. We are completely come under the spell of this senses and the mind. So we are completely completely encapsulated there. We completely inside of it. We cannot come out of it. So when we are completely encapsulated there, then we cannot do anything. And only that limited that there we are wandering into that. So we cannot see anything. So that's why we are internally also blind. We are externally also blind. So here exactly that similar Vidura mentioned that you are blind, Dhritarashtra, externally as well as internally, because of you have this deep attachment for your children. You cannot see what is dharma now, what is supposed to do. You are completely attached to your children and your kingdom. So then we know that what happens all after that Dhritarashtra and went through and all this Kurukshetra, all this happens just because of his attachment to his children and his kingdom. So similarly, so we can see that there are so many examples, but when a sadhu instructs, like then finally after the Kurukshetra, again Vidura instructed to Dhritarashtra, at least by this time, you have to have this, detachment. You have to leave this place. You are still attached to, you are still connected. You are still trying to enjoy this kingdom in the living and staying with the Yudhishthira Maharaj. This is not that for you. And now at least you leave this place and try to attain this liberation from this all material attachment. Then finally, Dhritarashtra took that word and then went to the forest and attained salvation. And we could see that from the Mahabharata. Similarly, here Srila Prabhupada says that one should approach a sadhu in order to cut down this material attachment. So unless and until we approach a sadhu, and sadhu instructs and trains and guides us so that we can take that instruction sincerely, and that's a way that we can cut down this material attachment. So the sadhu will say that, every devotee says that, okay, follow these 4 regulatory principles, chant some rounds of the holy name and engage in the loving devotional service. So sadhu slowly says that, then what happens? All our material attachments or sensual attachment to this, all these various aspects, that all we can transfer to the, to practice or to please the sense of the Supreme Lord. So here we know that, so we are all trying to satisfy our senses. That's our material attachment. But Srila Prabhupada says that same attachment we transfer to these senses to please the senses of the Supreme Lord. That's why dear devotees, that the sadhus and the spiritual master devotees there, they instruct and guide us that to transfer those essential attachment to this material world, transfer the same attachment to Krishna. This is the way, instead of satisfying our senses, as mentioned, that this is completely entangle us and connect and attach to this material world. And unless and until we cut down this attachment, we cannot liberate, we cannot free ourselves from this ignorance or darkness of this deepest well. As Prahlad Maharaj says that this material world is considered as Andhakupa. So we are all in the darkest well of this material world. So we don't know, we don't see it because we don't have that proper knowledge. So this sadhu gives us that proper knowledge. By that weapons of the knowledge, we can cut down and this attachment, and we can detach from this material world, and we can attach to Krishna by the proper guidance and instructions of this sadhu. So the sadhu then tell us, do that. Okay, come to the temple today. You come and then distribute the books, or come and serve or clean, so that all the senses utilize to please the senses of Krishna. Krishna is there in the right there as a form of Shyama Sundara. We can see that he is so beautiful. And when we see ourselves so beauty in our mirror, but that same eyes we see the Supreme Lord is so beautiful, and we go there and see and pray to that and see in front of the Lord with that such a intention of seeing that beautiful form. Krishna is very pleased because of Krishna also dress himself every day, and Krishna also looks us in the mirror that, and we show the mirror to the Krishna. Then Krishna is also pleased with each and every aspect of it. So anything like that, instead of utilizing all our senses and mind intelligence for our own selfish purpose, but the same senses and the mind and intelligence we utilize for the purpose of Krishna, to please Krishna, then we can slowly cut down this attachment to this material world. So this is the way we can liberate ourselves. Otherwise, as it says that Maharaj mentioned yesterday, that we are Nitya Siddhas. Since time immemorial, we are here in this world. Why? Because of we have always had this sensual desires and self-centric and material attachment. So because of that, we create the bondage with this material world. So as long as we have this material desires in our heart, then we are creating bondage again and again and again in this world. That's why we cannot even leave this world. Even a person die, if he has strong sense of attachment, he cannot simply leave this world. That's why it takes so much of time. This is very important, that even to leave this world, if one has so much of attachment, he cannot leave this world. So it's sadly, the Kapila Dev, the first thing that we have to do, transfer. Srila Prabhupada's, that's a proper guidance of Srila Prabhupada gives us that even so, detachment from this material world is not that easy for all of us. But Srila Prabhupada, as a spiritual doctor, that he can, give us this proper, instructions, that by the transfer all of our sensual activities, mental activities, and our bodily activities transferred to please the Supreme Lord, then slowly we can cut down this attachment to this material world, and that is our course of liberation. Then only we can come to that, situate into our proper spiritual understanding. That's the way we see that, okay, now we can see things. Now we can understand things very clearly. Otherwise, in the last verse mentioned that we cannot perfectly understand what is what. So Mother Kapila Dev, Supreme Lord, is instructing Mother Devahudi, and not only to Devahudi, to us as well, that we should utilize our all that body, mind, and senses for the service of the Supreme Lord. That's the way we can cut this material attachment. So with this note, I would end here. Thank you so much. Sorry, I went over a little. I didn't realize. Okay, Hare Krishna. Sorry for that. विराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि हरे कृष्णा मधुरी प्रभु.
Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Simeshan. We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day and week ahead. We'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare
Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Shri Nrsimha Jai Nrsimha Prahlade Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Brinam Ugra Veera Mahavishnu Jalantam Sarvam Bhishana Bhadram Mrityam Namami. Nrsimha Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad ki jai.
Jai.
Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the small Vaishnavas of the Lord. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhaya vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Vaishnavinda ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Lord Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Simeshwar Prabhu. Thank you, everyone. Hari Bol. Simeshwar Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.